You will. Not mean to do that. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I thought I was gonna do better this time. Last time I didn't realize that it didn't the sound was still working as we did the intro, and this time, I guess, more technical problems. But our second live event, this is gonna be an ongoing series, so monthly. We already have the next one on our company page. So if you wanna go ahead and register for our next event on thought leadership, go ahead. We'll be talking about on the next one, we'll be talking about the actual posts that and the type of content that actually delivers revenue. So not the fluffy kind. We actually dig down into what actually works. So on this session, I am joined by Kaylee again, and we're talking about all things thought leadership. And this time we're talking about AI in a modern thought leadership motion. And this is something that I feel like is very relevant because I'm hearing like a ton of people basically feeling all this pressure of figuring out AI, feeling like they should already have an AI agent army doing everything for them. And the fact that they haven't figured it out and they haven't found practical uses of AI or feel clumsy is stressing them out, especially when marketers and leaders are being asked to do more with less now than ever before. And I feel like even worse because now with AI, the expectation is that you can do the job of two or three people and you're still trying to figure it out. So that's where we're at. What is actually working? What are we actually using AI for? And for those of you who don't know, I'm Justin Rowe. I am the founder and CEO here at Impactable. We are a LinkedIn ads centric agency. We have about 160 active clients and we practice what we preach. So we run a decent demand gen movement ourselves. And Chieli heads up our demand gen thought leadership content wing. And then we have the ad side. So we get a lot of real data. We're working with a lot of companies in the SaaS, IT service, marketing, agency, business services. And let me tell you, they don't have it figured out either. So you are not behind. You are not as behind as the LinkedIn feed might make you think. But what we do want to get into is, yeah, actual thought leadership and AI and how it's being used. Before we dive in, I would like to say if you have questions, we are going to be trying to monitor the chat. Let us know if you have questions. We'll answer those. Let's see. I'm not seeing them pop up yet. But yeah, at first, you can let us know that you're here, where you're seeing us from, and put your questions in there. We'll have time throughout this and at the end to actually answer those. And I promise if you have questions on here, even if we have to do them later in the comments, all your questions will be answered. And so you won't miss anything. Okay. Let's dive in. And I'll start with a few questions for Kaylee. And my first question is from your perspective, how is AI transforming the way we approach content in B2B? What's changing?
Geez, what isn't, to be honest with you? I think you explained it a lot, and that's why I'm very excited that we're doing this event because it's a question that I get very often. How are we using AI? How should I be using AI? It's everywhere. And I think it's really important to make sure that we're taking this with a grain of salt, as they may say. There's a lot of posts on LinkedIn. There's a lot of movies are being made with AI now. So it's really important to make sure that we are seeing these, but making sure that we're keeping our values as well. So since there is a big rise in volume of these posts. You can tell when something is AI at this point. I think we can all see the M dashes and the emojis and different things like that. And while the big rise in volume might be good, you might just be posting a lot. It doesn't always equate to value. And that's where we're missing that piece. So, like I said, even though there's more posts out there, people are finding it a little bit easier to make content. This is so saturated now, it's really difficult to find things that are of value and are worth posting and seeing. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about in the previous event about like POV and thought leadership in that way. Because with AI, unless you have a very trained bot, you're losing that POV, you're losing that human insight, and that's gonna weaken your authority as well. So I think that's the transformation that we're seeing, and while there's a big rise in volume and content, I think that value is getting diminished a little bit with it.
That's a really good way of putting it. So AI is helping us get more efficient and cranking out content. Whenever I hear someone saying cranking out content, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, we're sacrificing quality. Like AI is not going to give you a competitive advantage or it can't replace your expertise or your point of view. So that's not the kind of thing you should be farming out to AI. And one of the examples I would say is I'm a LinkedIn ads expert and I'm selling a LinkedIn ad service. So what I should not do is I should not go to ChatGPT and say, research and find me relevant topics on LinkedIn ads and create a post because it's just going to scrape information and then make a post for me that sounds like what everyone else is doing. What I need to feed into it is like, what do I think and feel that's different than everyone else? That's why I love like our content motion where we take these interviews, the transcript is the fuel that goes into AI and that's the quality input that actually gets a quality output. And you're not replacing like your POV. So that's a
The
good
other
one.
thing with that is just to kind of real quick, the motion behind thought leadership itself is to be unique, is to stand out, is to be bold. And if you're just using ChatGPT to generate these topics and it's going to be what everyone else is saying, that completely defeats the purpose. So I think it's really important to use AI wisely because there is a way to implement it into these types of notions. But you have to make sure that you're not sacrificing that value with it.
Yeah. Next question is, so what's the risk of letting AI speak for your brand instead of with your brand?
Yeah, so I think I went into this a little bit, but anything with AI, you can tell when something is AI. There's usually a bit of a robotic tone. The emojis, the M dashes, things are just very similar. There isn't that really like human warmth to it. And that's going to dilute your credibility. Anyone can tell something's AI at this point, and the second that I see a post that is AI, I'm immediately scrolling away because that's not something that I want to read. That's not value. It's not I'm not getting anything out of that if it's just gonna be generated by a human or not generated by a human. I think the other thing is that AI can't replicate lived experience or, like, personal conviction. So, like I said, with thought leadership, it's all about being bold and putting yourself out there and challenging the norm, and AI doesn't have the thought process behind that, I guess you could say. So, it doesn't have your experience, it doesn't have anything like that. You can train it up as much as you want, it hasn't had these experiences. So I think it's important again to you can use AI in a way, and we can talk more about that too. But if you're losing the warmth behind it, that humanness, then you're diluting your credibility, and that's just not worth it.
Yeah, and it's very similar to like when if I'm on LinkedIn and I'm like engaging with other posts, I have this thought constantly. I don't want to engage with robots. I'm there to engage with
Mm,
people. So even like someone like Gary V,
yep.
if I don't believe it's actually him running his page, I don't really have a motivation to engage with that. And I think it's very similar to like these B2B influencers. If it's me specifically posting my thoughts and then people are engaging and then I'm responding, like that draws people in. But if they think they're just engaging with a Justin robot,
Mm,
then they're going to be turned off to that. So if your posts and all of your posts look like they could have been written by AI and they're not sharing some like sharp POV and it's not sharing your actual experience and like humanity's coming through. That's why I do like the idea of pairing video and using the transcript to help with the script because there's no denying that that's you, the human. And then the post is written from your like voice and tone and words and maybe structured with AI. And then you are also like replying to the comments. So like the blend like actually matters. But yeah, I know for myself, like I'm just like, why would I comment on this if it's not a human? I'm like not interacting with a human here. So that's my motivation.
yeah, exactly. We see that in comments as well too. Everyone is obsessed with responding to comments and making sure that they're doing that on their pages and being active on the feed. But you can tell when a comment is AI too, and I don't want to respond to that.
Yeah. I'm torn on that because I'm like, if I reply to the AI comment, On the one, I'm just like rolling my eyes. Like I'm probably just doing it to boost my own numbers because I'm like, if I reply to these, then now my overall comments go up. But do I just delete these? If 90% of your comments are AI, I would say you should probably clean that up because that'll prevent other people from wanting to engage with you. If there's a few, then I get a few, and sometimes I'll just like reply hand raise emoji or
Yes. Yeah,
amen,
emojis.
thank you. And it's like I know I'm replying to a bot. This is dumb. I'm not going to put any time into this. But yeah, people can tell. Next question for you. If we're not using AI, then to just write the full post from start to finish, what are the practical ways that you would advise people watching this to actually use AI day to day?
Yes. So there's definitely a way to use AI when it comes to organic content and thought leadership. I think it's a mindset shift because a lot of people want to use AI to do the work for them and to cut corners. But I think what we need to do is think of AI as a thinking partner. So more about brainstorming different angles, headlines, researching trends, organizing messy ideas. Something that we do with our content offer is we interview our prospects or not our clients, and then we take the whole transcript and we put it into AI and we'll pick out the best parts that we think could make for good content. So it's more about speeding up that process and less about writing and generating this content for you. The other thing is like repurposing. So if you have a webinar or a carousel or a podcast or anything like that, throw the whole thing into ChatGPT or whatever AI service you're using and use that to pull out those best pieces to repurpose different things. So I think it's like I said, it's less about having AI write for you, more about having it write with you, because that is how you're going to use it efficiently, but also not lose that human aspect and that warmth of it. Because again, you have your experiences. You're the only one that has those experiences. You can teach them to a bot as much as you'd like, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to have that human warmth, and you're just going to lose that credibility. So I think it's important to use it to speed up processes but not cut corners, because that's where you're gonna get in trouble.
And I think one of the things that we can share with them maybe after this and in the follow up email would be some of the prompts that we use to create this. And so we can collect some of those because I think that would be valuable
Absolutely.
for that. And if you guys have questions, this would be another good time. So if you have a question about how you should or should not be using AI in your content motion on LinkedIn, thought leadership in general, drop those. We'd love to answer those if you have them. And we'll save some time to at the end.
Alright. Justin, I have some questions for you now. Um,
Yes.
so getting more into the LinkedIn ad side of things. So we've talked a lot about AI, talked a lot about thought leadership, organic content, how to use it to not generate, but to help with that process. What do you think are some practical ways that you've been using AI? Because I know you use it a lot in your processes to help with LinkedIn ads, targeting, messaging, insights, all of that.
Yes. So let me, for this, I'm going to share my screen and move to this. Let's see.
While that's
Um,
loading, yeah, just Laurie had a comment here. Just today, I was talking with someone about how I find myself writing less formal and more emotive these days so people know that I'm human. That is so common. I've also been seeing that. Yeah, it's less about writing formal with like grammar and things because AI has perfect grammar. So people have started
yeah.
to do that as well.
And someone else was saying that they would intentionally put spelling errors in there to make sure people.
Mhm.
And I said, I've been doing that for years. It's
Sure.
terrible speller. And also, I type fast and make mistakes, and I don't always go back and proofread. Not advocating for that, but in some weird ways, I think that also played. Yeah, lets people know that I'm human and some of those posts that I make. So one of the things I want to share is like some practical examples. And again, I'll package these up as well and share some of these along with Kaylee's prompts in our kind of follow up email. But here's some of the stuff that I've been doing. I've been creating these prompts. And what I found is you need to have an anchor. Like you need to have your way, your secret sauce kind of baked into it. It can be AI can be great for doing research and like maybe comparing something to your framework. What I've done is let's take an example of targeting. How can I take AI and try to get a better idea of like my target audience with relation to LinkedIn specifically? So I'm going to take my friends at Dream Data as an example. And this is how easy like you can use it. So one of the things I do is I'll just copy the information from their website and from their company page. And I like to talk to my AI and I'll just say, and ingest this. So there's their company page. I'll go to the website and I'll literally just copy and paste like their website. sometimes. And yes, it can actually visit there. I like to copy and paste it as well, because what I found is there can be sometimes errors in like how it processes the information, and actually just giving it the copy and paste, it can be a lot better. So first, I'll just give it like the information about this person or this company. It's gonna just do what it thinks I want. It'll start producing some kind of output. But then what I do here is I have this prompt that I've created that basically says, look at this information and tell me, who the target audience is and what that looks like on LinkedIn. So if you see here, it's going to first, it has, yeah, let's see. Here's this first segment: marketing operations leaders at mid-market SaaS, company size 200 to 5,000. It gives you the industries, company types, job titles, seniority. And actually, I think this looks pretty accurate. It has additional best practices for targeting. It comes up with distinct audience profiles, and it gives you the exact LinkedIn filters to actually target that. And part of why this is good is because, being a LinkedIn ads expert, one of the things is you need to know all of the different ways and filters you can use to target. And so that would be like a big learning curve for someone. AI is actually good for that because it has that information. It knows all of LinkedIn's filters, and it's smart enough to look at a website and your company page, see who you're targeting, make some assumptions, and then pair those two together. So yes, you would either have to have a lot of expertise or you'd have to have the structure. And this is actually really good. These are distinct segments of audiences for Dream Data with exact LinkedIn filters. And then I think it even will prioritize and say, I would start with the demand gen and performance marketers. I would then go to marketing operation leaders, and then I'd go to revenue and growth leaders, and it gives you a path. I can come back here and I have another prompt that says, okay, what if LinkedIn isn't the best place for this targeting? I would like to understand how I could build a target audience outside of LinkedIn. So I have a prompt that basically does the same and says, okay, what are the firmographic, technographic, and NAICS codes in order to target this? And again, without being an audience expert or doing hours of research online to try to find this prompt with the structure I've given can actually clearly define that and bring those in, because yeah, I don't have the expertise to go and pair those industries with the actual like granular codes and thinking through the different segments of what technographics those companies would have that could make a good segment. And this is really good because, yeah, so let's look at this one: marketing and ops, rev ops leader. So same company size, geography. Now we can add in revenue. LinkedIn's not so reliable for that. We're still looking at industries, but then this is new. On top of that, it'd be helpful for Dream Data to target people that are Salesforce or HubSpot users that are using already marketing automation, probably, yeah, already using some kind of attribution visual tools. This would give them an actual better target audience than probably LinkedIn native filters would. And we have 3 distinct personas here as well. So I'll share this prompt and I'll share a couple of others, but this is one of the practical ways that I would use AI in order to take a framework, use a body of knowledge that exists, and then help clarifying target audiences or something like that.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm like fascinated over here just watching you. So then one of the other things I know that you use AI for is like understanding competitive landscapes. Can you go into that a little bit? How do you structure that? How does it work?
Yes. And let me come back to my screen share and show an example of this. And actually, I'll do the same one. And for this one, it'll be competitive research. So one of the things I'll show is, let's do, so this one, we are giving it a little, it would work better if you had already identified maybe 5 or 10 competitors and you had their URLs. And basically what AI would do here is that it's time saving. So I think a normal human being who's smart in the B2B or marketing world could visit their 5 or 10 competitors and they could gather this information. They could gather like pricing information, who they're serving, what their proposition is, but it'd be really time consuming to actually go through that. So what I've done is I created this prompt that tells the AI what I'm looking out of it, and even how to, this looks jumbled, but it's because it's going to be in a table view, how I want that structured, what I want from the SWOT analysis, what I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for pricing information. I'm also looking for like, how are they positioning themselves? And then from my 5 or 10 competitors, how are they speaking about the problem and solution? And what are they doing different? And then with all of that in mind, what are the opportunities that we have to stand out from all that with all that being considered? And I think that's like a lot of time consuming. Like a human could probably spend 5 or 6 hours doing this, but AI has the ability to pull that in at a much faster rate. And so let's do this one for dream data. And I would say this would be really helpful to run for yourself. And I have, and let's see what this looks like for them. So this is actually going to go online. It's actually going to look for their competitors. Let's see. Did it? Company overview, client impact tool. Did I do the wrong one? Oh, this is probably doing for us. Oh, wait. Interesting. Company name. I knew doing a live demo has its risks. Matrix, ad conversion. Okay. Oh, it's pulling in some of our data. Let's see. Or it's thinking that it's doing this for us. No. Okay. It's going to reconfigure. So you can make mistakes. You can redo this. Okay. So this is, you could pay someone to go do this research. Now, the best case that I found, and I'll show you something that I think will even be more impressive. So this is actually really nice. Okay. And knowing what I know about Dream Data, knowing about their competitor landscape, like just looking at these top 4 or 5, like I would say, yes, these are relevant competitors. So here's Hockey Stack, which for all those watching, like I am a Dream Data fan, that would be my choice, but I'm familiar with Hockey Stack factors. So why do they compete? Years in business, positioning, and pitch, their unique value, unique positioning, ICP target, and notable features and offerings. Here's the SWOT analysis. Here's the positioning, differentiating, and recommendations. So SMB friendly yet powerful, few tools combining enterprise level attribution. So this is really good information. And what we found, or what we're starting to try to do for some of our clients, is do this on an ongoing basis, because it's one thing to do this once and take a snapshot. It's another thing to then do this every quarter and say, and what's changed? So one of the things that I have actually been impressed with is Namanja on our team. Vlad hired him, and Vlad is overseeing our LinkedIn ads team. They actually built out this N8N workflow that will actually do this. It will visit the web. It does it from the LinkedIn ads library though. It'll go visit the LinkedIn ads library of a specific company and series of competitors. It will scrape and pull in all the information. It will analyze the ads, and then it will do that month over month or quarter over quarter and compare the previous results. So this is the manual version, and this would be perfectly fine if you put this on your to-do list to just create this, have a list of your competitors, and then have AI visit and build this out. But this is definitely something that you could, build a kind of an agent to actually do. And this would be a legitimate use case and not a pie in the sky one. So another great example there.
Yeah. Wow. Running out of time a little bit, but bringing it back to content and like thought leadership, you've been building a full funnel content engine. So how are you layering AI and automation into it?
And we'll be really quick here because we don't have a ton of time. But one of my favorite ways to combine automation in this, and I know that's a taboo subject, is I found this. If you're doing all this work organically with thought leadership, with LinkedIn, you're generating profile viewers. And if you're running thought leader ads that are coming from a personal profile, you're generating profile views to your personal profile. But 99% of people that I know aren't doing anything with that data. And what I discovered was there's if you get Sales Navigator, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically like the lead generation, the sales version of LinkedIn that allows better targeting. But they also allow you to do some cool stuff. So look at this. I created a filter that says if they've recently viewed my profile and their ICP fit. So I put specific job titles, company sizes, I put geographies. I can exclude contact lists, exclude anyone I've already messaged. And then I also say on top of that, their second or third degree connections. So these are ICP fit people that have viewed my profile that I'm not connected to. This is a group I want to connect with. And so you can do this manually and just send connection requests to this group. Or there's automation. I've used Phantom Buster throughout as an automated flow to just connect with this group. And again, like the risk is pretty small and the backlash, because these are people that are familiar with you. They already have visited your profile. And so sending these connection requests, I think I get a 67% acceptance rate. And then I'm not spamming these people. I send them one message, basically, glad we're connected. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And here's a link to my most valuable resources. That's it. I mostly want to just build content and nurture them long term. I'm not looking to create a 12-step messaging pitch and annoy them. I want to intentionally grow my network and then deliver value over time with more content. That's my whole idea. But to optimize that, yeah, those, what are the signals you're looking for? You have profile visitors, and what are you doing with that? So that's one of the big things that I would say a lot of people could add that onto your arsenal and see a lot more success.
Absolutely. Very nice. We're running out of time here a little bit, so let's get into some questions. If anyone has questions that they want to leave, we'll be happy to answer those within our last couple minutes here. If not, we do want to invite you to register for our next event, which Justin mentioned earlier. It should be up on the LinkedIn page now, so make sure to grab your spot for that. And then we're also going to be sending out some follow-up emails for attendees of this event. You're going to get all of the prompts that we talked about, all of the key takeaways, and a nice little recap stream for you.
And yeah, if you have questions, put them in here. And again, like even if you're seeing this afterwards, if you're watching the replay, still go ahead and put your comments in. You can tag myself or Kaylee, and we will actually respond to those. And then, yeah,
Yes.
I think what I like about these LinkedIn Live events is they act as like webinars. So if you sign up, we'll be able to follow up. A lot of people found a lot of value in not the full recording, but our clips. So afterwards, we'll send an email with the full recording, but we'll send a second one after we get clips, and we'll basically say, if you missed everything else, here's the 3 or 4 little 30-second or whatever clips that are the most valuable. And that seemed like what everyone liked. And then yes, we'll also include our exact prompts. And if you have questions, like, so yeah, best tools for these automations. Sales Navigator is the one I'm using for filtering. Phantom Buster is the tool that I'm using for kind of a connect and message flow. App Amplify is a tool that I've been using for engagement. So you can make a list of content creators or prospects or people that you want to engage with. And basically, Amplify will look at those people, pull in their recent posts, and give you like an engagement feed to work from. Descript for AI video editing, Gamma and yeah, I'll add that to the list to
Yeah.
follow up. Gamma for AI presentations. ChatGPT is still my go-to projects in there. So we'll make a list of recommended tools and links for that as well. Any other questions? Right. Then it was great having you guys. Look for the email with the valuable goodies. And if you do need help creating a content motion yourself, getting started, or being consistent with thought leadership, that is a service that we offer. And then on the other side of monitoring those signals, creating nurture flows, that's also something we can help with. We'd love to have a strategy session, or even just do a free content strategy session, map out what your strategy might look like. So hit us up if you have questions, if you're interested in talking, and we'll follow up with you guys with more information. Thanks, guys. Until next.
Thank you. Bye.